Hi, and welcome to Rich Rabbit. Today we're going to talk about one of the biggest names, in fact the biggest name when it comes to luxury jewelry, Tiffany & Co. Arguably the world's most iconic jewelry brand, the history of Tiffany dates back to 1837, when a 25-year-old Charles Louis Tiffany and his friend John B. Young opened a small stationery and fancy goods store in New York City, with the help of a $1,000 contribution from Charles's father. On their way to the new Emporium at 259 Broadway, fashionable ladies in silk satins and beribboned bonnets faced the gauntlet of narrow streets teeming with horses and carriages. At Tiffany & Co., they discovered a newly emerging American style that departed from the European design aesthetic, which was rooted in ceremonial patterns and the Victorian era's mannered opulence. The young entrepreneurs were inspired by the natural world, which they interpreted in patterns of simplicity, harmony, and clarity. Tiffany first achieved international recognition at the 1867 Paris World's Fair. The company was awarded the grand prize for silver craftsmanship, the first time that an American design house had been so honored by a foreign jury. Tiffany was the first American company to employ the British silver standard 92% pure. Largely through the efforts of Charles Louis Tiffany, this standard was adopted by the US government. The Tiffany & Co. Silver Studio was the first American school of design. Apprentices were encouraged to observe and sketch nature and to explore the vast collections of sketches and artwork assembled by Edward C. Moore, the celebrated silversmith and head of the studio. By 1870, Tiffany & Co. had become the America's premier silversmith and purveyor of jewels and timepieces. At the turn of the 20th century, the company had more than 1,000 employees and branches in London, Paris, and Geneva. In 1878, Tiffany acquired one of the world's largest and finest fancy yellow diamonds from the Kimberley Diamond Mines in South Africa. Under the guidance of Tiffany's eminent gemologist, Dr. George Frederick Kunz, the diamond was cut from 287.42 carats to 128.54 carats with 82 facets, which gave the stone its legendary fire and brilliance. Named the Tiffany Diamond, the stone became an exemplar of Tiffany craftsmanship. The legacy of Tiffany design is richly told in the annual Blue Book collection featuring Tiffany's and the world's most spectacular jewels. Initially published in 1845, the Tiffany Blue Book was the first such catalog to be distributed in the US. Since 1878, the signature Tiffany blue color has distinguished the catalog's cover, as well as the famous Tiffany Blue Box, an icon of style and sophistication. In 1886, Tiffany introduced the engagement ring as we know it today. Previously, diamond rings were set in bezels, but Mr. Tiffany's ring was designed to highlight brilliant cut diamonds by lifting the stone off the band into the light. This famous ring was named the Tiffany setting. To this day, it is the most sought-after symbol of true love. Having introduced major gemstones to the US through purchases of the crown jewels of France and Spain, Mr. Tiffany's enterprise was now the world's diamond authority. At the same time, the world had embarked on the age of expositions that took place in Europe and America. At every venue, Tiffany won the highest honors. The company's exhibit at the 1889 Paris Fair was heralded as the most extraordinary collection of jewels ever produced by an American jewelry house. Tiffany produced an equally praiseworthy collection for the 1900 Paris Fair, along with magnificent silver pieces based on Native American designs. This unprecedented number of awards led to Tiffany's appointment as royal jeweler to the crowned heads of Europe, as well as the Ottoman Emperor and the Tsar of Russia. With the death of Charles Louis Tiffany in 1902, Louis Comfort Tiffany, the founder's son, became Tiffany's first art director. His position as America's leading designer was well established by 1882, when President Chester Arthur invited him to redecorate the White House. By 1900, the younger Tiffany was a world leader in the Art Nouveau and arts and crafts movements. The famed artist created a remarkable range of designs, from technically brilliant leaded glass to colorful enameled and painterly jewels based on American plants and flowers. Throughout the jeweler's history, the most prominent members of American society were Tiffany customers. Vanderbilts, Astors, Whitneys, and Havmeyers adorned their evening dress in Tiffany diamonds and commissioned the company to produce gold and silver services. President Lincoln purchased a seed pearl suite for his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, in 1861, and a young Franklin Roosevelt purchased the Tiffany engagement ring in 1904. As the 20th century progressed, Tiffany designs captured the spirit of the times, from the extravagance of the 1920s to the modernism of the 30s and the aerodynamic age of the 40s and 50s. Tiffany china set the stage for White House dinners, and Tiffany jewels accented the elegant clothes of the world's most glamorous women, including Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Elizabeth Taylor, and Diana Freeland. Very often, Jean Schlumberger created their jewels. This great 20th century jewelry designer arrived at Tiffany in 1956. His bejeweled flowers, birds, and ocean life remain the pride of Tiffany & Co. Throughout Tiffany's history, the US government has called upon the company to create commemorative designs. Among them are ceremonial swords for Civil War generals, the Congressional Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military award, and the 1885 redesign of the Great Seal of the United States, which appears on the $1 bill. Business and professional organizations have also commissioned Tiffany to create custom designs. The most well-known is the Vince Lombardi Trophy for the National Football League Super Bowl championship. Tiffany has created the trophy since the first Super Bowl in 1967. In addition to Jean Schlumberger, Tiffany welcomed other visionary designers including Elsa Peretti, who transformed 70s jewelry design with an elegant simplicity based on natural forms, and Paloma Picasso, who followed in 1980 with jewelry of bold originality. Throughout the company's history, Tiffany designers have drawn on the natural world for inspiration. Nature is also the source of the precious metals and gemstones necessary for creating their designs. Tiffany was an early proponent of obtaining these materials in ways that are socially and environmentally responsible. As Tiffany & Co. Chairman and CEO Michael J. Kowalski has said, quote, "Our position as a leader in the luxury jewelry market gives us the opportunity and the responsibility to conduct our business in a manner that is consistent with our core beliefs: protection of the environment, respect for human rights, and support for the communities in which we do business," end quote. In 2012, Tiffany marked its 175th anniversary. In honor of this milestone, the Tiffany diamond was reset in a magnificent necklace of dazzling white diamonds. After traveling to gala celebrations in Europe, Asia, and the US, the diamond, in its new setting, returned to its permanent place of honor on the main floor of Tiffany's Fifth Avenue store. This priceless gem is symbolic of her heritage based on the highest standards of quality and design excellence. Today, Tiffany has more than 300 stores and employs 12,200 people across the world. Since 2013, Francesca Amfiteatrov has been at the creative helm, and as the first female design director, she is credited with taking Tiffany in a fresh new direction, while still retaining the essence of the iconic brand. The Tiffany T collection, unveiled last year, features a minimalistic design with graphic angles and clean lines that are reminiscent of the sleek architecture of New York City. The design pays tribute to the Tiffany name, says Amfiteatrov, but there's also a verticality and intensity to the letter itself that I associate with the energy and optimism of New York. And there's also a lot of New York in Tiffany T. This is a place of courage and reinvention that constantly sparks creativity. Thank you for watching the video. If you like our videos, do subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click the bell icon. We have other interesting videos on our channel, so do have a look at them before you go.